Hello, Squirrel Tribe. So we have something very important to talk about today, and it involves money and it involves banks. We talked about this yesterday a little bit when we were talking about Warren Buffett and everything that's going on with him and with Berkshire Hathaway, and then the potential for 7% of banks to collapse here in the United States of America. Well, I came across this article today. This is from dailymail.com, so it's not going to be about the USA, but it is something that will, in my opinion, affect us as well as what we're about to talk about here. So in Australia, they have a lot of things they do differently in Australia than we do here, just like numerous countries around the world do things a little bit differently than we do here and in other countries, right? So Australia, we've talked about before, they've outlawed all these growth hormones in their beef, which is why ButcherBox uses Australian cattle for its beef that it gets, because there's no growth hormones, I don't remember all the letters. There's like an RBST and an RBGH or growth RBGH, growth hormone. Australia right now, y'all, I'm trying to figure out how to even tell you about this because it's so completely, I don't want to say idiotic, but it's on the verge of that. And it makes me honestly think about the movie Idiocracy. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. It's got which Wilson? Not Owen Wilson, Luke Wilson? Luke Wilson, the brother, or Owen Wilson, the brother? It's one of the Wilson brothers. I don't remember which one. In this movie called Idiocracy. And again, if you haven't seen it, I would suggest taking a look at it because it feels a little bit like where we are in today's society, right? Well, in Australia, there's this bank called Macquarie Bank. And this bank, Macquarie Bank in Australia, have ditched all cash at all branches and goes completely digital. Well, you may be thinking to yourself, but Michelle, that's in Australia. That's not going to happen here. Y'all, think about it though. Think about it. A lot of times when something happens one place and it seems like it kind of sort of works, it starts to take off. It starts to become the new trend and it starts working its way around other cities, other states, countries, whatever, until everybody's doing it because it's the new thing to do. We know for a fact that our country would love us to go digital. They would love to get rid of cash. There have been places I have gone myself personally and have not been able to use cash because the locations, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a gas station, whether it's some other retail location, they don't take cash anymore for numerous reasons. It could be because, the safety of employees at places trying to go make cash deposits at night after a store closes is not safe, especially when you're a female or you're a teenager trying to go make these large cash deposits. There's the possibility of being robbed, correct? A lot of places don't want to hold on to cash because they don't want to get robbed in the location either. A lot of places don't want to hold on to cash because heaven forbid there's a fire or some other, huge disaster that could destroy a cash register. That one may be reaching, but it feels accurate. It feels like a reason employers or companies may give for not having cash, right? But another thing is a lot of people don't like to carry cash. So it makes it easier for a lot of places just to say, you know what? We're going to wipe our hands and not use cash anymore. But we know the real reason that places aren't using cash, because cash can't be tracked. They don't know what you're doing when you pay with cash. You can go take cash out of your ATM and you can go spend it anywhere you want. And all anybody will ever know is that you took cash out of the ATM. They won't know if you went and bought booze. They won't know if you went and bought paid a stripper. They won't know if you got a hooker. They won't know if you got drugs. They won't know if you got more beef or chicken or whatever else than they think you should be getting at grocery stores or your local farmer. Y'all catch my drift here? Y'all know what I'm saying? So here in Australia, Macquarie Bank, y'all, one of Australia's largest banks. And it's not even like it's some little baby mom and pop bank. We have those little banks here in the United States. A city will have its own little small bank or credit union, and then you have your big banks, your Wells Fargo, which we all know is trash, your Bank of America, your Truist, things like that. But then you have those other little ones that are local banks. Macquarie Bank is big. I'm going to say it's along the lines of a Bank of America, Wells Fargo, something like that here. It is a big bank in Australia. They have decided to ditch cash at all of its branches because they're shifting entirely to digital only services, which means not only will they not have cash, there goes jobs, there goes employment, there goes the need for branches, there goes all these different things. It's going to make a huge difference in the economy in itself in Australia. And heaven forbid we decide to take that on over here in the good old US of A, which we already know there is the potential for bank collapses. We have been talking about it, and it goes so much deeper than we talked about in yesterday's video. I'm going to put that one up at the end of this. Make sure you take a look at it. It's very, very important. And then we're going to, do a little more digging on that in another video. But this one here, starting May 20th. Today is May 7th. They got just under 2 weeks before this goes into effect. But starting on May 20th, Macquarie Bank customers will no longer be able to access over-the-counter services to order even new checkbooks. You can't even get a checkbook from them. A checkbook. Most places won't even take checks anymore. You're either swiping a card or, a palm print if you're at Whole Foods or someplace like that where it scans your biometrics. That's the right word? Biometrics. It's not like a fingerprint. It's literally your palm print. You have credit cards. You have this. You have automatic pay, like you can pay from your watch, your phone, with like Apple Pay and things like that. But they don't want to take cash. And a lot of places don't want to take checks because you have to have your driver's license and all this other stuff. And then they run it through the thing. And then if the thing is down, they can't run it. Then you can't write the check. It's become a big to-do almost everywhere. But according to this, the bank's automated telephone banking service and checkbooks for new cash management accounts have already been slashed. Done, okay? All cash and check transactions are gone. Finito, finished, nada, no more, nunca, nothing, right? And Macquarie's customers' access to NAB ATMs will end by November 1st. So you can't go into a bank and ask for cash or a check, write a check, can't get cash, can't do any of that. You also will no longer have the ability to drive up to an ATM and get cash out because Australia itself, the entirety of Australia wants to go cashless. They want to go 100% digital. This can either go very, very well for Australia or it can be the biggest dumpster fire they have ever seen. And I hope, y'all, we're going to cross all the fingers. My toes aren't long enough to cross, but I'm going to cross the fingers and hope that our government doesn't sit there and go, oh, we should do that too, and then jump on it before they see how bad it crashes and burns in Australia. Because then, how do you recover from that over here? You can't just say we're going completely digital, and then when it does not work, because it will not work, they go, oh, we should bring cash back. Well, you've already ruined the value of money at that point. So what's the point? You might as well just give out little pieces of paper from Monopoly. It's going to have the same friggin' effect, right? But according to this, in April, this is the important part, okay? In April, thousands took part in a cash day out protest and rushed to withdraw money from ATMs to protest against Australia's slow but inexorable. Why do they put words in here that they know I don't know how to say? Australia's slow, blah, blah, transition to a digital only country. That was the important part. Cash day out protest where thousands bum rush the ATMs in order to go take all of their money out. Why does this sound familiar? Oh yes, about this time, I don't know if it's actually this time last year. It just sounds good to say it that way. About this time last year, there were so many people doing the same thing because of all of the potential bank collapses that were going on. SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, and then Signature Bank. Ooh, I remembered one. And then there was another one. But I don't remember the other one. There was a third one. Nope, don't know it. So when all of that was going on, people were at that point also bum rushing ATMs and bank branches to pull out as much money as they could. When we first heard about our government wanting to go to CBDC, central bank digital currency, when we heard about them wanting to do that, a lot of people ran out and got a ton of their money out of the banks because we don't trust the banks. There's no reason why we should. They have given us no reason to trust them. You know how like when you're growing up, you're like, well, I'm going to trust you until I shouldn't trust you. That works for a lot of things. With the banks and the government, that's not the case. Never trust them because they're never going to show you a reason to trust them. Just don't do it. Okay. Plain and simple. But that is going to be the issue. People running to take their money out of the banks actually makes it worse. Think about it this way, and I hate to do it. Y'all know I hate to do it. But when the pandemic happened and everybody's like, oh no, toilet paper. Still don't understand why toilet paper was the one thing that everybody went freaking ape shit over to go get toilet paper. I mean, you could buy a roll of toilet paper on eBay for like $100. It's just your booty hole. Use a wash rag and clean it. There was no toilet paper way back in the days. They used a leaf or, something I don't know what they used to wipe their butts, you know, back in Neanderthal days, but they used something, or they didn't, and everybody stank really, really bad and was really itchy bootied because it was crusty. One of those options. Either way, the bum rush, get it? No irony meant. It just happened to be that way. The rush on toilet paper was absolutely ridiculous. But what happened because of that? There was plenty of toilet paper to go around if everybody just got 1 or 2 cases for themselves. But people went out there and like, I want all the toilet paper. And they bought 50 cases of toilet paper. The next thing you know, toilet paper prices spike because manufacturers are like, oh, look, we can charge more. People are losing their minds. And then all of a sudden there's shortages. There's all these issues with toilet paper because everybody lost their ever-loving shit about toilet paper. During the pandemic, it wasn't the meat, it wasn't rice, it wasn't anything else. It was toilet paper. But that's what happens to the banks. The banks are like, well, we're not going to tell you that we're floundering, but there's a possibility we're going under. And instead of people then hear that and they think that because that one bank is having an issue, all these other banks are having an issue. So they go to all the banks and start pulling the money out. And then you have a toilet paper situation where these banks were perfectly fine. They were like, oh no, we have plenty of money. And then everybody pulls it out. And then that bank is like, oh, we have nothing. And there goes that bank. It makes sense in my brain how those two things, you know, what's the word? Metaphor? A simile? I don't know, one of those two. So it makes sense to me. That's what's going to happen in a lot of places because our banks are going to continuously hit the crapper. Again, I have more information on that we're going to talk about in a different video. But this here with the Macquarie Bank is a huge issue. Macquarie cited a shift in customers' banking habits as the reason behind their change towards digital-only banking. The bank said it is committed to transitioning. I'm so sick of the word transitioning. Y'all know. Committed to transitioning to completely digital payments as it's a safe, quick, and more convenient way to transact. Think about it. People bitch and moan about having to stand in line at the bank. They're so mad. There's 10 people in front of them. It takes forever to do all this. So they get fed up and they just get in their car, go around and pull money out of the ATM. Okay. This is kind of the same thing. When people are saying it takes too long to do this, it sets a precedent for the banks and other places, Walmart, seeing that people are complaining about this, so they try to find faster ways. Walmart people complained all the time about having to stand in line to make a purchase when they had, 75 registers in this place, but only 4 cashiers. So now you're 50 people deep and 2 hours long to buy your Christmas presents. People complained or left or whatever else. So then Walmart goes, I have an idea. Let's bring in self-checkout. People will be so happy then because now they don't have to wait in line. Well, some people were, but then it shot them in the foot because people were like, how dare you take away American jobs? How dare you make me do your job for myself? Your job. Yes, that's how that goes. So there's always going to be these unforeseen repercussions to these things that these people and places are doing that they think will help people most of the time. I still don't think banks and government give two shits about helping people. It's probably all nefarious reasons. But according to Macquarie Bank, they're saying it's because, it wasn't working for them. Their customers didn't want all of this, right? According to this, banks also claim that transporting and distributing cash for a diminishing amount of users was costly, despite the colossal profits made by major banks. Colossal profits. They're called interest rates and all those fees they hit you with every single month for no apparent freaking reason. Finance expert Sarah Wells says, saying the move is the next step towards a cashless society. Because that's what we want. No, that's what they want. No, I don't think banks want cashless societies either. You have to stop and think about that. A cashless society means banks aren't needed either. It means that you just need like one entity to oversee everything. One ruler to how's it go? One ring to rule them all. I'm thinking of Lord of the Rings over here. No, that doesn't work. But do you have the government? This is government playing puppeteer with banks. Banks going, oh no, this is a great idea. I like this idea. We should totally go all digital. We're tired of money and paper cuts and, angry customers. Yes, let's go digital. Then they go digital and they go, wait, I don't have a job anymore. I don't have customers. I don't have money. I don't have checks to cash. I am useless. I have no job. And then the government goes, oh, well, if there's nothing for you to do in the banks, there's no need for them to be here. Don't worry. We'll oversee it. And now the government controls everything, which is what we talked about yesterday. And it's just funny that now Australia is in the same boat that we talked about yesterday. So again, I will put that video at the end of this one. Please make sure you watch it. The beginning's a little bit Warren Buffett stuff. You could probably skip through maybe like the first 3 or 4 minutes before you really get to the meat and potatoes of it all. But it's worth a watch. So where is... My biggest concern is when one starts, the rest will follow. This is what the financial expert Sarah Wells said, which is exactly what I just told you. Australia is going to do it, and then some other country is going to be like, ooh, good idea. Let's do it too. And the next thing you know, the WHO or the WEF, they're running everything, and we have no say in nada. Let's see, ANZ, Commonwealth Bank, and NAB have already begun phasing out checks while Bank West prepares to shut down 45 branches in Western Australia by October. So it's not just the one bank. My nose is itching like crazy. I've got the ceiling fan going and it's making my nose itch, which means I probably have a hairy nose. I don't know exactly what that means, but either way. So you have all these different banks here in Australia that are like, oh, we're going to follow suit. Already, it's a domino. That first one falls and the rest follow suit. And then all you have is just like down dominoes. It doesn't look cool anymore. Now it's just done. It's over. It's finished. And it's like, well, that didn't go like I thought it would, right? For some businesses, this may cause them to need to change banks. Think about that as well. For businesses who bank and they rely on cash, they rely on checks. If the banks stop using them, it changes how you as a business can do anything, which then changes how your consumers, your customers can do anything. It is a trickle effect all the way down. Businesses bear the cost of having electronic payment machines and must pass on a fraction of every transaction to the bank rather than keeping it all. Banks refusing to use cash effectively force their business customers into the same, as there is nowhere to deposit cash payments. That particularly hurts hospitality businesses who report a decline in tips when people pay by card. Those who want cash retained in the economy were urged to withdraw cash at ATMs across the country for Cash Out Day last month to protest the nation's haste towards wholly cashless transactions and show there's still demand for notes and coins. The campaign was promoted on a Facebook page, which is called Cash Welcome, which is a nonprofit group campaigning against a cashless economy. I don't know if that Facebook page is strictly Australia or if it's like a worldwide, kind of thing. If it saw customers lining up outside the big 4 banks, Commonwealth Bank, NAB, Westpac, and ANZ to withdraw cash. Campaign manager for Cash Welcome, a guy named Jason Bryce, told Daily Mail Australia the event was a huge success and said banks need to listen to Aussies who don't want a cashless society. This is a huge deal. What they said here at the end about how businesses have to bear the cost of electronic payments. Think about it. When you go to a lot of restaurants these days, they're the first people that you're going to see do this. And I see it here a lot. We've seen it on vacation. When you go to a lot of restaurants now, you get your bill. And at the bottom, it'll give you a cash price versus a credit price. Even gas stations do it, especially for truck drivers, semi-trucks. There is a cash price and a credit price. If you're paying with a credit card, your cost is higher because they want you to cover the fees that they are being charged by the banks or the credit institutions in order to process these transactions, right? If you're paying cash, there's no transaction fees. It's just cash. It's my hand to your hand, and then you're done. But if you're swiping a credit card, there is a transaction fee because it's digital, and everything digital requires something extra. You can't get on your computer without the internet or some sort of Wi-Fi or computer service. Same thing with your cell phone. You have to have Wi-Fi or some kind of service. Nothing works without something digital pushing it or running it on the back end, right? So for these societies to want to go cashless, it's going to cost everybody even more in the long run because they will find ways to implement new fees because you have to then use whatever system they are going with. There will be no other option of, oh, I'll just write a check. Oh, I'll just pay cash, whatever. Now it's going to be, I'll barter. I will clean your house if you will let me, I don't know, have a chicken. You know what I'm saying? Like instead of being able to transfer money back and forth, people are saying, get gold, get silver. Unless you're dealing with somebody else who also has gold and silver, it's useless. And then what's the point behind that? That's just my thought on that. Everybody should do what they think is best for them. But the gold and silver, to me, at this point in time, I'm not 100% on board with, for me personally, because I don't know exactly how that's going to play out. So I'm holding back on that one. Again, I do have some gold and I do have some silver, but not anything that's like, exorbitant. But for Australia to set this in motion and fully cashless is a huge deal because it means it is that first We talked about it yesterday. Again, if you haven't seen the video, watch it later. We talked about the puzzle pieces. You've got the border. We know what the border is. It's the control of the government and WHO and WEF, W-E-F. I don't know if you're supposed to say it or spell it, whatever. And then all these little pieces in the middle. Well, Australia is a piece in the middle that goes into this whole big thing. Australia going cashless, because in the next thing you know, this country goes, New Zealand goes cashless. Then whatever's next to that goes cashless. And I can't picture the globe right now to save my life, or the map. And I don't know what's next to Australia and New Zealand. I feel like Japan's somewhere over there. I have absolutely no idea. And I feel, are you smarter than a 5th grader? Not right now today, I'm not, but it's fine. But these are the little pieces that make up the whole entire puzzle. Every little thing that's happening, whether it's in our country or not, it starts to become part of the whole. So we have got to pay attention to what's happening everywhere, because it all is part of the big picture. So for those of you who are worried about, you know, the United States going CBDC, going cashless, going checkless, all these different things, it's happening in other parts of the world. There's no way we're that far behind. It will catch up to us sooner or later. Like I said, you already have places where there is no cash. They don't accept cash. There's banks where the ATMs are down, or you can only get up to a certain amount out of the ATM. You go inside the bank, and if you want to take out a certain amount, they ask you what it's for. It's like it's in their damn business, right? But they will still ask you. We're going to see negative changes before we ever see anything positive happen with banking. And that's my opinion on that. So I wanted to bring it to your attention because it's important. This is another piece of that puzzle we were talking about. So check out yesterday's video, and then tomorrow I'll be back with more pieces of the puzzle. Hey, we should call this like, I should make like a segment, pieces of the puzzle. I like that. I don't know. Anyway, Squirrel Tribe, I love y'all immensely. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your Tuesday, my dudes, and I will see you again tomorrow for Hump Day. Goodbye.